Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. We are going to take you along for kind of a vlog style video this weekend. You guys really liked when we did that with our first video, and so I thought we would do it again and we'll bring you along for our weekend. We have had a lot of weekends. We had many weekends in a row for several months that we were just knocking out projects and working on the garden and working on the goat structure and all of the things, just all the new things we're doing, all the projects that come alongside that. And we weren't taking a lot of time to rest and just have fun. So then the past few weekends we've been a little bit more intentional. We've spent more time with family. We've gone out and done like splash pad and stuff like that with the kids, which we did do here and there when we were working so hard on projects, but it's just kind of hard to fit that stuff in. As you know, like with little kids, everything just takes a little bit longer, and sometimes things take up the whole day and then you can't get any work on the project done. So it just didn't happen quite as frequently. So we've taken most of the last few weekends off completely. We've gone on a couple date nights, we've had a lot of time with family, lots of family events because it's summer and birthdays are happening and just all the things, and that's been really good and really refreshing. But now we have kind of a lot of things to get done, so we're taking this weekend and we're being a little bit more intentional. We're going to have some time to spend with family one day of the weekend, and then I think our plan is probably that tomorrow we're gonna knock out a lot of work. And I say work, I mean work on the projects in the backyard and stuff like that. I have a lot of things here back here in my backyard garden. I need to do some weeding. I have to plant some new things. There's some maintenance things that need to happen back here. I need to finish mulching. I got some more straw to mulch the rest of the garden bed, so I need to do that. So there's a lot of things on the list back here. And then we want to go over to the community garden, which we have a whole video that we'll be sharing about that next week. But we want to go over there and get that tilled up. And we bought some tomato and pepper plants, get those planted hopefully this weekend. We'll see, but at least get that process started. And then hopefully get started, like spend a little bit more time working on our chicken coop as well. And then we have some cooking things we want to do. So I just thought, you know, it's going to be a busy weekend with a lot of different things, and I'll just bring you along and kind of show you what that looks like. I'll hopefully have a chance to show you some of the fun things that we're doing, but it may be more focused on like our projects and things like that that we're getting done. So I'll bring you along for all of it, and I'm excited to spend the weekend with you. Okay. We are going to attempt to try to make goat milk ice cream for the first time. I haven't done this yet, but we have a lot of milk right now, and all of this too. And so we have been milking s'mores twice a day now because we're trying to wean churro, and so we're getting more milk. Still not tons and tons by any means, but a lot more than we have. And so I've been saving it for the last few days to try and make goat milk ice cream. And I think I'm going to do brown sugar vanilla for the first flavor. We do not have an ice cream maker, so we're going to have to DIY this a little bit, just like we always do with stuff that we don't have the right equipment for. You can always figure out a way around it. So we're going to try and see what happens. We want to get an ice cream maker soon. I grew up having homemade ice cream like at every holiday gathering. My granddad would always make it, and he had an old-fashioned, really nice ice cream maker, and so I want to make sure that we get a good one. So we've kind of been researching and looking around, but we're not quite sure what we want yet. So for now, we're going to do it the DIY way and see if it works, but I'm very excited to do this. So I'm going to pull up, I usually pull up like a YouTube video or a podcast or something while I'm doing a project like this. Just have something in the background, and I'll put a little time lapse on so you guys can watch, and then I'll show you the finished product. Side note, while I'm thinking about it, if you didn't know this, goat milk is actually naturally homogenized, which means that the cream and the milk are together. So whereas like raw cow's milk, the cream will rise to the top and you can use that separately, you can't do that with goat's milk. There's ways around it. You can get a cream separator, but I don't have one currently. So I am just using heavy whipping cream for the cream aspect of that and adding that in. I would like to get a cream separator so that I can do fully from goat's milk, but for now that's what we're trying. how beautiful my zinnias are looking. I love all the color back here. It's so pretty. I've already harvested one little bouquet from back here, and I think I could come and trim some more. I'm actually going to take you guys up front real quick because I need to go grab something from the front, and I will bring you along. I've started something that has been working really well for me, is that I have started making like a master list of gardening tasks. And what I'll do is I try to take time every day, usually in the morning, sometimes throughout the day, it just kind of depends, but at some point during the day I go and just do a walk through the garden, and I kind of just check everything out. I'm not necessarily weeding then or doing tasks, I'm just checking everything to see how it's doing, seeing if there is any pest issues that have popped up, if things are growing well, if I see any fruit popping up, any issues that I see, just taking note of that, because you can really, from everything I've heard, obviously I'm a first-year gardener, but from everything I've heard, you can really get on top of things a lot quicker if you notice them right away. So I spend time doing that, and also just it helps me enjoy my garden more too. But while I've been doing that, I've started making a master list in the notes app on my phone and writing things down as I see them. So if I need to like replant cucumber seeds, or finish mulching the garden, or you know, prune the zinnias, whatever it may be, I just write it down in a checklist. And then each day I try, when I make my to-do list for the day, I'm very much a list person, so that helps me a lot, just with daily task management and doing, you know, all the things. But I'll go through my master garden list and try to pick like 2 to 3 things for a typical day. On a weekend I might pick a little bit more than that if I have more time, but pick 2 to 3 tasks to accomplish, and that's kind of helping me to keep up on everything so that I don't get too overwhelmed. Okay, this is what I came to get. These are for the gophers actually, and I ordered them on Amazon. I was recommended these by a few different people. I tried the oils, so I did oregano oil mixed with water, and I came out and put it on cotton pads and put it down in the gopher holes. That worked great, honestly. I didn't have any issues when I'll sit down for a second. I didn't have any issues when I was doing that. The problem was that you had to keep doing it every single night. And so I was kind of looking for a solution that I wouldn't have to remember to do that every single night, essentially. And I had a few different people send me this exact link to an Amazon product, which I will link in the description below because they were very cheap. You got 2 of them for, I think it was like 20 bucks. And they are solar powered, so I had them on the front porch in the sun earlier because they have to charge up before you start them. And you just stick them in the ground nearby where some holes are. I'm going to kind of spread them out, and I'm going to start with 2 because I pretty much have the gopher issue in one specific area of the garden. Thankfully it's not throughout everything, it seems to be kind of in one area. And you just stick them in the ground, and they vibrate and make like a noise underground that the gophers don't like at all. So we're gonna see if it works. Like I said, I've heard success stories, so I kind of wanted to get a product that I had heard directly from someone else that it worked for them, rather than spending all this money on all these different solutions and nothing working. So I will keep you guys updated, but we're gonna put these in the garden real quick. Okay. They're all set, and I can hear them going, which is so interesting. So I have one over here, which this is the main spot that they have been taking them. They have taken my green beans from especially right in between here, and then they took a few at the end multiple times, which look how beautiful my beans are looking. I think I'm gonna do a garden tour next week to show you guys everything, but then I put the other one over here because there's a fairly large gopher hole there too, although they haven't taken any plants over here. Figured we'll just do that. That's interesting. I can hear it just going off. It's not annoying. It's not super loud or anything. It just sounds like a vibration, but it's good to know that it's working, so we'll see. And then I gotta come in here and address this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to dig these up and replant them, I guess, because a little goat got in here and got these, which I know sounds like the story of my life, but we had a little section of our fence, if you see here, we put I think this is deer fencing, I think is what it is, on the inside of the fence so that the goats and chickens couldn't get in here when they were out in the main yard. And we had a section of it earlier that came down, and so they were able to get in for a little bit, and one of my baby goats got in here and decided to be a nuisance for me, so I need to do that real quick.
Yeah, broccoli.
Eat broccoli.
Broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli.
Yeah, don't say.
Oh, thank you.
Broccoli.
Yeah, don't touch it.
Broccoli.
Good job.
What's that?
Those are for, don't pull them out, keep them there. Those are for the
I
gophers.
just want you to show your equipment one day just so people can see.
Okay, gardening friends, maybe you can help me. I think, so I already had to rip one out over there that I knew had squash borers or vine borers or whatever it's called. I'm thinking that this one does. I don't even know if you can see that well. Let's see if it will focus. So it's like split here, but then if you look closely, like right in here, it looks like there's little piles of what looks like sawdust. There is a squash growing on this. There was like 3, and then that baby goat got them. There's a baby squash in there, but it just doesn't seem, I don't know. Do I rip it out? Is there something that I can do to help it? And then this guy, this one's a spaghetti squash, and this stem is looking a little bit not great too, but this guy has a lot more like just dead leaves, and it had some yellowing ones, and now those have died, the leaves, and it's had a couple bigger size melons like this one, except that a chicken picked it. But then it's had several like this where it grows a little bit and then it just seems to like fade out, and that has happened with this one too, where it like starts growing and then it's almost like it is deflated, like the squash itself is like deflated and not usable, and then it stops growing. So I don't know. Do I rip these? Like, here's another one that did start growing more, but then a chicken pecked it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm so new to this, so if you guys have any tips, I would certainly appreciate them. I know there's still time to plant squash, so that's why I wasn't quite sure if I should just go ahead and rip them out. Or not. Like this stem, I feel like looks better. And this guy had a big, I gotta cut that off because chickens obviously got to that. This guy had a big sized one, and I was really excited about it, but of course the chickens got to it. So anyways, I would love your help. Okay, I figured I would set you up while I weed. Let's see if it's focusing on me or not. Yeah, I think it is. Okay. And then I can talk to you while I weed. I've been trying to weed fairly regularly, you know, try and take 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here, you know, just to keep up on it. But honestly, this week I have not been out here a lot to weed. I will say this bed is one of our cut flower beds, and this is the only one that I did not lay the cardboard down in, and it definitely gets the most weeds by far. The other beds, at least so far, you know, and I know we may have more weed pressure in years to come or whatever, but so far they've not been bad at all. I mean, they'll have truly like a couple weeds pop up a week, and I can just snag them as I see them while they're really young, and it's like I don't have to dedicate hardly any time at all to them. This bed I have to keep up on regularly though, because we didn't do the cardboard. I was doing some tubers in this one, which I hadn't done before, and I wasn't sure, since we didn't prepare it like, you know, 6 months ahead of time or over the winter or anything like that. We just laid the cardboard down and cut holes in it and then watered it regularly so that it would keep breaking down, and I wasn't sure if the tubers would like come up through that or not. So I did not do it in this bed, and this bed is definitely has a lot of weeds in it, and it has to be maintained very regularly for sure. So do a layer of cardboard and then a layer of compost, and makes the weeding time so much less, which just makes the maintenance a lot easier. So my cardinal climbers right here, I'll have to show you guys in a second, but they are getting really big, which is really exciting. But I got to figure out what, I mean, like, if you can see, they've got these long tendrils. Here, I'll turn you around real quick. These are the cardinal climbers. And they are huge now. They just kind of exploded. Look how long these tendrils are. So I know that they need to climb up. So I'm gonna need to get them some trellis things. Some of this, it's like they just start growing and I just kind of figure it out as I go and figure out what I need to get and all of that because I'm so new to it. So they are growing very well, which I'm excited about. I started some from seed like inside and they grew well, but then only one of them I think made it, maybe not even one. I don't know if they made it that well when I transplanted them, so I don't know if I'll start them from seed again or not. Like inside, I mean. But they have done great out here. They really have flourished, so that's good. And Camden will come help me sometimes too, and I can show her which plants she can pull and which ones she doesn't. And she does a pretty good job at that. Okay, we're gonna move down a little bit. And then in a minute, I need to prune my zinnias too. I have some planted over here that are big enough to be pruned now, and do that real quick because they produce a lot more when you do that. And I did that with my other zinnia plants, and I can definitely see that they are thriving and doing really well. So I think one of the interesting things too about being a first-year gardener is that everything is so new to me, and I think that's a little bit, some of the overwhelming parts is like, yeah, it was overwhelming to choose what to plant and how much to plant because I didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't know how much it would produce or anything, so I just kind of guessed and chose plants that I knew that we would eat. I know next year I want to do a lot of plants that you can't get in the supermarket and plan ahead a little bit more and order some of those specialty seeds from places because a lot of those really excite me to try new varieties that I've never had before. I think that will be really fun. Like ground cherries is something that I've heard a lot of people talk about, and I've literally never tried that in my life, and that sounds so fun and I really want to try it. So that will be going in my garden next year. But one of the other hard things too is just like as pest issues come up, like all of these things are new to me. So as things come up, I feel like I'm having to Google just a lot. Like that's how you learn, is you just Google, you know, why are my squash leaves yellowing, and just learning different things. But then there's so many different pest issues that it could be for a lot of these things. It's like it pulls up a ton of different options, and so then you kind of have to narrow it down and figure out, okay, which one is it? And then from there, how do I treat it? We did not get organic seeds this year. We just got regular seeds from like Atwoods and different places like that we had locally because we kind of didn't plan far enough ahead for that. But we are doing organic methods, so I'm not putting any chemicals on our garden, using any pesticides. I'm trying not to even use any herbicides, so just really like diatomaceous earth if we need to. Like I said, we've used oregano oil, different things like that are just natural and aren't going to harm us when we're eating this food is kind of the goal. And so trying to be creative with learning what works. There's a lot of information out there, but a lot of it you just learn by trial and error too. And so there's naturally a lot of trial and error this first year while we are learning everything. And it's like as I see issues arise, then I just have to get on them pretty quickly so that it doesn't get worse, and try and figure out, okay, how can I solve this? What's the best method to use? What should I try first so that this doesn't get worse? You know, all of those things. We just don't feel like we're producing a lot yet, which maybe we're just not in the time to do that yet, but you know, I started a lot of my seeds inside in March, and then we did plant them a little late, so we didn't plant them until I think mid-May. So a lot of things still have time, but some of them, like, I don't have any cucumbers growing yet. The plants are doing great, but I don't have any cucumbers growing yet. I don't have any big tomatoes growing yet. I have a lot of cherry tomatoes, but not big tomatoes. So anyways, just things like that. It's like, okay, since you've never done this before, it's the question of, okay, am I doing something wrong? It seems to be growing well. They're not in distress by any means. Like, they look good, but they're not producing fruit yet. So I guess it's just a lesson in patience and learning like what's normal and what's not normal and all of that. It is nice out now too. That's part of it too, is that it's just getting to the point that it's just hot enough that I do not want to be out here all the time. Like midday, which is a little hard when, you know, as a mom of young kids, like midday is kind of the main time that I have if I want to focus and not have children needing me constantly. But also I don't want to be outside when it's like 105 degrees outside. So I'm having to do a lot of it in the evenings, and we've just had events in the evenings and things like that to go to, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But thankfully we don't have anything on the calendar tonight, so I can come in and just get some of this done. And the kids are over there playing really well right now, actually. And I'm not sweating to death, so that is definitely a plus. Coming over here, this whole line here is basil, and we're gonna make pesto for dinner. So I'm gonna come through and prune all of these. I actually just did this probably a little less than a week ago, and they've grown so much already. So I'm gonna prune a bunch of these, and we're gonna use this for dinner. My camera unfortunately died while I was outside, but this is the basil that we harvested, and Matt is going to make us a pesto pasta for dinner, which is going to be really yummy. We had some last night, and we had never had it before actually, but we had so much basil to prune. It's good to like prune the basil regularly, and it'll keep producing. So anyways, we thought a pesto pasta sounded good to try, and we loved it, so we're making it again tonight. Knocks the flower because he's so interested in the flowers lately. Do you like that pretty flower? It's your own. Don't eat it.
Tell Mama thank you.
It's yours. You can keep it. Should we cut one for Sophie?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I would close out the final piece by showing you the ice cream. It turned out so good. It's melting very quickly, as homemade ice cream does, but it turned out really, really yummy. So I'm super glad we did it. We still have some extra milk, so I might make another round and try a different flavor combination. But this brown sugar vanilla is really yummy, and the texture turned out really great too, if you can tell. Oh, so good. When you go to film, apparently your goat decides to act like a crazy goat because she's like kicking all over the place. And I don't know what's different, but she does kick some, and I usually still hold one of her legs because she does still kick. She was not milked regularly before we got her. But she's agitated today, and I don't really know why. So, anyways, Matt is inside. We're kind of teaming up tonight. Matt is inside making dinner, and I came out to go ahead and milk and get that out of the way because we're having dinner a little bit later tonight, since it is a Friday night and it's a weekend, and we just had a lot to get done this evening. So usually I come out typically either like while Matt puts the kids to bed is kind of what we've been doing, or right after we put the kids to bed, and then I milk then, just because it's a little bit easier. But we've just started doing the twice a day milking about, see, and she's never this loud either when I milk her. Now Churro just got out. We just started doing the twice a day milking about maybe a week ago, and it's working really well. We're getting a lot more milk, and Churro seems to be doing great with it. She was older. Honestly, you can, like, our other goats were weaned around 8 to 10 weeks, I think, from the bottle, and Churro is like over 12 weeks when we started the process. We kept having issues. We got a few different tapes, and they just were not working. Churro was getting them off. Her baby was getting them off so easily, like, and we kept trying different things to keep them on, and she would get those off. But we finally got some tape on Amazon. It was cheap actually, and it works really well. It's like a 2-inch, what was the actual name? Soft cloth surgical tape, I think is what it was. I'll link it below too, in case any of you are in need of that, because it has worked really, really great. And there was a YouTube video, I'll also link that below, that we watched that kind of showed how this lady did it, and she said she made like Fort Knox with taping it like 3 different ways, and it has worked perfectly. It takes a couple minutes to do, but we've done it for, like I said, almost a week, and she has not gotten it off once. We do it, you know, I milk in the morning, and so I take it off in the morning when I milk, put it right back on, so it's on all day, and then at night I take it off, milk, and put it right back on, so it's on all night. So they're not separated at night or anything anymore because she has the tape on. Okay, we'll see if we can finish this up. She shouldn't have too much left. I think part of the problem is that Matt accidentally fed them, which it's just alfalfa pellets, it's not grain, so it's not going to hurt them or anything, but I had already fed them when I let them out this afternoon, and he accidentally fed them again. So I think part of the problem is that she has her alfalfa pellets, and she doesn't really care right now because she's probably full because she's eaten twice. So, and they were out to graze and everything too. Now she's standing a little better. I don't know. It's like you bring that camera out, it's just like kids, I swear. So much drama. Before we started weaning, we noticed she was letting the baby like drink still, but, or nurse still, but she would kick her off sometimes too. So I think she was, ready to. So anyways, I think we might actually end the vlog here because we had enough to do this evening that we really had a lot to show you. I feel like I don't want this video to be too long, and what we get tomorrow at the community garden, I'm gonna add to our community garden video. See that little baby goat? The gate, granted, was propped open, so she didn't really like escape, but she's being a little mischievous the past few days, probably just from weaning too. But also she just has that kind of personality. She's definitely our most mischievous goat by far. Anyways, but other than that, I might plan to just leave you here. So thank you for spending the evening with us, and I'm really enjoying doing this and having you guys along for the journey. All your comments seriously make my day every single time, so please leave a comment. Please help me with my squash issue. If you guys have any gardening experience at all, please help me with my squash issue and tell me if I should take them out or leave them in, or what you think the best plan would be. And that's all I have for you today. So I hope you guys have the best weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.